So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about fast Fourier transforms, sometimes called fast Fourier transformation. And it's actually a way of looking at sound packets and breaking them down into their basic sinusoidal waves. And we look at the characteristic of that wave and say, okay, here's the frequency, and we can actually take a whole packet of sound waves at different frequencies and break them up and see where the major frequencies are represented. So, I have a microphone, and it's hooked into the computer, and I'll actually pull up the sound pressure, but I can take the map of these waves, again, all basically sine waves, right? The sinusoidal waves of different frequencies and different amplitudes, and I'll map them out, but then I can break them up and see where the greatest number of frequencies are represented. So I'll take what should be a pure frequency. This is a tuning fork at 480 hertz, 480 cycles per second. And I'll strike it, record it, and then analyze it. Before I can do that, I need to extend the time that I'm recording for. I like to make it very easy on myself and set it for 60 seconds and then just analyze whatever's left. And actually, since I'm walking back and forth, I'll make it 120 seconds, a little overkill, so I can talk a little bit at the same time. So I'm going to try to be completely quiet, take my 480 hertz, and I won't talk while I'm doing this because I don't want the microphone to pick up anything. I've got a little bit of background noise. I'm going to try not to breathe too loud. I don't want any extra sound, as much as possible, present while I'm recording. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Go ahead and stop it. So this was my voice. I can't play it back, but this was my voice. And you probably saw it going as I was speaking. That's great. And we can look at my voice a little bit later. But here is the tone. I'm going to just pick a certain section of that and analyze it using that fast Fourier transform. Again, breaking it down into the different frequencies. So let me zoom in a little bit. Let me zoom in on my voice and show you this. Zoom, zoom. There's a lot going on there, right? A lot of different amplitudes. So I'll zoom in on the frequency, choose a nice little section. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And it begins to get a little more clarity here. Let's see. Change my bounds. Now this is a very nice sinusoidal wave. I'm going to select some of that, and I'm going to actually use the FFT graph. You can see there's some background here, some higher frequencies, also characteristics of the tuning fork, but the primary frequency that we see is very stark. Where do you think that is? Well, this is a 480 hertz tuning fork. I'm hoping that's somewhere around 480 hertz. Let's see, here's 0. Here's the 1000. Yep, looks like it's right around 480. So the rest of this shows you some periodic characteristics of the tuning fork. Might even, depending on how far you analyze this, talk a little bit about the background, which can help you analyze where something is at. And we can look at this for other tuning forks. Let me take a, let's see, what is this? 512. Here's a 512 tuning fork and a 480. They're very, very close together. Let me see if I can come up with a different peak. going to strike them both together and see if I can see both peaks. Okay, let's zoom in on that. What do we have? There we go. Zoom in. Now notice this is actually very interesting. I wasn't talking in the background, it was just these two tuning forks. But they're off enough that they cause what we call beating or beats. And these beats actually are constructive and destructive interference patterns. And if we took the frequency, the number of beats, we'll actually find a beat frequency, it would be the difference between these two frequencies. So you got 480, you have 512, just subtract the two to find the difference. But that's not what we're looking at today. Zoom in a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful patterns there. But what is it really doing? Let's select some of it, insert that FFT graph again. And try to zoom in. Again, they're so close to each other. Look at that. There's your 480. There's your 512. Here's the 500 mark. The 512 is closer. The 480 is further away. And you do see even a difference in amplitude, which could be for one reason or another. But the important point is that we see both frequencies struck at the same time, which you might be able to tell there's two frequencies, but what happens if we have 20 frequencies, or 1,000 frequencies, or 5 frequencies? Can you tell the difference? Can you break that down and find a pattern? Let me try it with my voice, a very complex set of tuning forks, if you will, right? Vocal flaps. And let's see if I can break it down and see if there's a pattern to my voice. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. This is David LaFazia coming to you live from the Delaware Technical Community College Owens campus. Can you tell I used to do radio, folks? I'm going to select my voice sample. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. Let me zoom in really close. I want you to see these wave patterns. Nowhere near as precise as tuning forks. There's definitely something very organic going on here, right? But again, I want to show you, you can actually break this down and find those patterns. So let me choose this section, insert the graph. Okay. Now look what I have here. I've got some underlying frequencies here, but the greatest representations are here. And you can actually see, of course, they have it by amplitude. And you can break down my frequencies. I have a certain pattern to my vocal flaps. And if I were able to give you different options, then you could actually identify for me who was speaking. It might take a little finagling, a little bit of intuition, but you could actually map up these frequencies and tell me who was speaking, and you could figure out, you could do a lot basically with these. You could say, okay, well, this person was talking, these people were talking together. You could actually overlap these. There's a lot of powerful applications to the FFT. And that's that.